Should I say anything? Good morning, everybody. Good morning. It is May 25th, and it is 8:31 a.m. my time in Massachusetts. And I am so glad to be on here this morning. Um, if you like this, thumbs up, and it doesn't matter. Um, I want to share something with some of you. I'm not going to go back and forth with people. I'm not about beefing. I wasn't that way in the beginning with. My video, actually, my YouTube was supposed to be for the liturgical dancers, also for the deaf ministry, because most of the people on my Facebook are all my family. And a few of them are a few of the people from college are deaf. And they messaged me and said, Denise, I followed you and I listened to you on your YouTube and your Facebook, but they didn't have closed caption. So for Forensic is going to come to my house because I have a VRS, which is called a video relay. And they're going to connect the whole system together with my computer, my phone, and my VRS together so that they will be able to hear, which means they'll be able to see this. And if I have interpreter or I can sign, either way, or they could close caption, everything will be accessible to them. Hold on a minute. All right. Now, I'm going to say this. All right. And I want you to get a very understanding. They were making videos about me. And yes, I've said some things. I've did things. We all do things in life. I'm a grown woman, so I have the right to do anything and everything I wanted to do. Okay? I don't need no one to come and tell me what I should and shouldn't do or how I should and shouldn't do. Because I've lived this life for a long time, so I ought to know good from the bad and evil. Now, a young man made a video to try to clap back at me, right? And the title was, It's a Hard Life. I'm glad for that hard life, young man and your other people. You know why I'm glad for that? Because it made me the woman that I am. It made me the best woman I can be. It didn't change me. The only thing that changed about me would not be my weight, or as I got older. Some of you are going to get older. You're going to go through facial features or like big face or small face. If you were once big, you might get small, whatever the situation may be. Amen. So that's the only thing that may change. But who I am on the inside, the Bible says, is not what on the inside that defiles the man, what that comes out of the man defiles the man, right? So I'm the same Denise I've always been. When I grew up in Early Branch, South Carolina. Early Branch, South Carolina is a small community, right? A lot of people don't know Early Branch, so I have to say Charleston or Savannah because it is the closest. And I have family in Savannah. I have family in Charleston. I grew up in South Carolina. I grew up in the Old South. I grew up on a farm. On my maternal family, a farm. And my paternal grandparents was plantation. So I grew up knowing the hard life. I grew up around the chickens and the pigs and the hogs and the cows. I grew up with the turkeys, the wild horse. We had that. I grew up on a farm. My grandparents had acres of land. Acres of land. So I knew what it's like to go out there and pick peas and beans and come back in big dish pan and buckets and shovel them and okras and picking them and the cornfield. We had a big old cornfield. I know what it's like having to plant them, having to when they grow, having to get them. I worked in a watermelon field. Some of you don't even know about the watermelon field. I grew up. And I'm young, right? I grew up with the mechanical washing machine. I grew up with the washboard. I grew up with the silver tin tub. I grew up with that. So you talk about my hard life. I grew up with that. I'm not a fast talker person. And you say, oh, I was touching my tongue? Mm-mm. No, I could talk. I'm doing this. I grew up that way. You know, that's all I know. And I live here in Massachusetts. I still eat corned beef hash. We made hash. And a lot of you don't even know where the hash come from. The hash come from the hog head. Half of the stuff that you eat don't even know where it come from. We grew it. We didn't go to no meat packing place. The only time that years ago later that they ever used a package like that to do that is after we killed the hog or whatever, and then grandma and granddaddy want to, they got tired after they got aged, then they go and get the hog butchered and made the pork chops and all that other stuff. But no, that we did it right there in the yard. We did it at the house. 225A, Early Branch, South Carolina, on St. Clair Road. The address used to be Route 2, Box 225A. We didn't have the fancy mailbox that you got like me in my apartment. I go downstairs, but I had to walk in the street to go to my mailbox. And the mailman came and put your mail in the box. My parents, they had to walk miles to school. My mother went to Wayhampton. My mother and her brother, which are the youngest two, my grandmother had 7 children. And the reason I said 6 at the time of living, because a baby died when he was younger. And so it was 6 kids. And my mother's older sister was Lee Joyce, Henrietta Lee Joyce Williams, who had 1 kidney, who was diabetic, who died here in Boston. All right. When I grew up in a house where my grandmother took care of her aunt, her uncle. They shared a room with us, with my aunt, and I considered my aunt, even though my aunt was older than my mother, was more like my older sister. And the reason why I say that, because my Aunt Joyce was petite. But even though that my Aunt Joyce was small, right? Even though my Aunt Joyce was a small woman, but she still lived a real life. She was diabetic. She lived with 1 kidney. She had bladder problems. And I and my grandmama, we had to pump water out of my aunt. That's why I can talk about medical. And that's why I can talk about what it's like. When I used to take care of my Aunt Aunt Essie. Because my Aunt Essie was on dialysis. My Aunt Essie was sleeping in a hospital bed in the same room that I was. I'm glad for that hard life. I'm glad that, I didn't have the fancy dryer until I was at my mother. And for a long time, my mother didn't have it. When my mother and my stepfather was married, we didn't have a dryer. We went to laundromat. And then it was later on we got a dryer. But you see, we didn't do that laundromat thing either. We washed our clothes and we hang it on the line. That was your dryer. And then for a while, after when we come out the mechanical washing machine, and when we didn't have that, we put clothes in a foot tub. You took a bath in the foot tub. You dumped that water out. The next person cleaned, wash it out or whatever. And sometimes we use the old washpot, the old black washpot. We used to put our clothes and your favorite soap in, and we took the stick and we beat it, and we put our clothes on the line. Mm-hmm. But you don't know about that, but I do. Picking the berries and blackberries and red berries and you name it, we did it. You talked about a young man named, I think I saw one of his videos called Old Baptist Boy. You said something about him making cake. My grandma used to make all kinds of cake. You name it, she made it. And people used to call my grandmother Aunt Eunice. And when I say Aunt Eunice, she raised not only her children, her sister's children, and some of her nieces in the house with me. And even though my grandparents' house would have had, what, 3 or 4 bedrooms, my grandmama always kept a welcome home. And it'd be like 16 or 17 of us in a house. In a small house, single family home. We had a wooden heater. We didn't have to worry about if the lights go out or we scared. We had kerosene lamps. It's a hard life now. Yeah, you're right. I still got those kerosene lamps today. Right in my apartment. Because you know what? If a blackout go out, you know, they used to say, Jesus saved, I saved. I got regular candles. I got kerosene lamp. Right? You know, if you read your Bible about the 5 wives and the 5 foolish, what did the foolish ask the wife? Give us some oil to put in our lamp. Right? You think I'm going to be foolish? No. So you talk about me, and you made the statement about the slow school and the slow bus and all of that. You know what? I tell any woman out here, if you have a special needs child, whether they are paraplegic from the waist down, on a wheelchair, or if they got crutches, or they got braces on their legs, let me explain something to you. When I was in a car accident with my grandmother in South Carolina, at 22 months old, I was walking on my toes instead of flat on my feet. And the doctors took bone out of my leg and placed it on my feet so I could walk flat on my feet. And they started that surgery at Beaufort Memorial Hospital. I was born in Beaufort anyway, and raised portion of my life in South Early Branch. And then I came to Massachusetts by the time I was 6 years old and had to go through several surgeries. And by the time I was my early preteen, I had cast from my toe to my hip area. And the cast had heels on about this thick. I know what it's like to be bedridden. I know what it was like to have casts on your legs and you had to walk on them little casts. I know what it was like. That's my hard life. I still got them stitch mark on my leg now. And remind me. So go ahead and talk about people being in slow school. What I'm saying to you people is this. So what? If you are blind, if you're deaf and hearing impaired, I was born deaf in my right ear because I never had a canal in my right ear, right? But my left ear was my good ear. So, and the reason I can tell you about deaf people, some people say, oh, deaf people, you will claim to be deaf, but you could talk. That's right, because some people can have affection or disease or like something like a pneumonia or meningitis. It affects their immune system. And when it affects your immune system, it affects every other part of your body. With me, it was pneumonia. But I was able to hear things before I became partial deaf in my left ear. And it was in 2004, 2003, 2004, when I got jaundice in my eyes, and I found out that I had autoimmune cirrhosis in the liver at Medical College University of Charleston. And that's also in South Carolina. So you want to talk about whatever medication I was taking. I took acetylcysteine, prednisone, and hydrochlorothiazide. And that is the blood pressure medicine. One is for my liver. The other is for my immune system, because my immune system fight itself. I was not a drinker, smoker, or druggie, or none of that. It is a rare condition because my immune system fight itself. I cannot, it's not contagious. It's a chronic illness. It's not something that I can pass in the body. You talk about a hard life? Let me tell you something. I've been to every school I ever went to here in Massachusetts and attended. All of my teachers, all of them, were Caucasian. Every school I attended, only from primary all the way to 12th grade, out of all, only 4 were African Americans. In college, all my professors were Caucasians. And all of them, even to this day, were doctors, lawyers, businessmen and women, writers, you name it, that's who they were. They have professions, along with being teachers. That's right. And I never had to worry about, getting the education I need. I never had to worry about, needing a special seat or need accommodations or any of that. So, if you say I was in one of your blogger on there that said that I was in a special school, you don't know me. You never did know me. You don't know nothing about me. You never went to any school I went to. You never interviewed any professors I had. You never diagnosed me. You don't know nothing about me. You only know what I'm telling you now, that you're going to go back and run to something and tell your people a portion of what I said. So, if you have children that are special needs, be glad that God gave you a child. There are some people that want kids and can't have them. And it's not because, something is wrong with you medically. Sometimes God just didn't allow you to have them because he has things for you to do. I was married. Me and my husband married over 10 years. After I was married for 2 years, I gave birth to my son. My son today is 25 years old. My son works for the airlines. My son is grown, so my son don't tell me what to do. Then I became a foster parent, and I helped raise them. My son has another son that is a year older than my son. We help with that one. So my kids, we ain't got nothing to worry about. We ain't got nothing to worry about. I've helped raise some of my nieces and cousins. I was on my cousin's kids. That's right. And they called me Aunt Nanny. Just like when I was coming up, my cousins that are my age would call my grandmama Aunt Eunice. So I'm glad for the hard knock life. I am glad for it. I'm glad that I worked in that field. I'm glad that I shed those peas and beans. I'm glad that I knew how to sew and crochet and make quilts by hand. I'm glad for that. I'm glad that for that wooden heater that kept me warm. Because now I live in an apartment. Let me tell you something. You talk about project people and low income people. Thank God. Thank God. Lord, thank God. Because even in my home, I don't have central heat and central air. I got a fan. That's how I keep my place cool. I got air conditioning. It's not hooked up yet. I took it down. I takes it down in October. I'll put it back up, but it gets too cold. I don't live in luxury like you. I'm not. It's not because I can't afford. That's not was never me. Because you know what? Having it all don't make you. By the time I was 34, about 34 years old, I had 5 cars. I can name every last one of them, and I paid for them. It's no need of me to have a car here in Boston because there's train, there's bus, there's cab, there's the ride, there's the Lyft, the Uber, and in some places here, you got to pay for parking. When I was in the South, I didn't have to pay for that. I just parked right in my yard. Oh yes, oh yes. But see, that's the thing, the difference between luxury and working for it. So a young man did on his video, and I listened to him, one of his young men, and he said that to be a great content, you have to work for it. That's true. And that's in anything in life. Sometimes you have to go through that hard knock life. You have to go through that hard knock life to get where you at today. You don't have to be a fast talking pastor to talk about, your life to try to impress people to get views and clicks and you have to do all of this show and talk sexy to get people to make you believe that you did this. And let me tell you something. I used to go to when I was in church. I'll put it like this. In Carolina, when we have church, if church started at 11, we didn't get out till 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I know about the benediction. I know about the revivals. Sometimes we have revivals 2 weeks straight. I know about the candlelight service, the tarry service, the all-night prayer. Oh, yeah, we've been there. The all-night prayer, you forgot about that, right? Oh, yeah. The usher board, the mother's board, the union board. I mean, we had everything. You name it, we have. We ever had a musician revival. You name it, we had it. They stop a lot of that stuff now. They don't do that no more. They don't do none of this stuff. And these mediocre preachers today, they just say things enough to get you to pay tithes and offering or get you enough to get you to believe things that they say. I'm going to give you a prime example. I was at a church with one of my cousins in Beaufort. And that was her church. He got up there, and sometimes they have to tell their story before they get into the word. So he got up there and he was talking about, y'all don't know about the good old days about wringing the chicken neck and, old deer patties and all this other stuff. I sat there and I just listened. Sometimes it's best to listen. So let me tell you something, people. My ex-husband's name is Ronald Mitchell. His mother's name is Mary Lee Marshall, the late Mary Lee Marshall Mitchell. My ex-husband and his brothers and my uncle and my cousin Joe and some of his friends, they all in a group that they got a hunting group, they go together. I know what I'm talking about because I went hunting with them. I know the tall tree that they build a thing when they go up there and they call in the birds. And because my husband, he eat bird. So you know what type of bird they do, right? I know. I went deer hunting with my ex-husband before. And I went with the group too. I've been fishing with my family. So I know. And you know what? I got an uncle that when he go fishing, he don't take one rod. He takes about 3 to 4 rods. And he lay them out and a net and a pole. See, that's what we were brought up with, the pole. See, you not when that rail and that net that pop. Now you fumbling? No, they throw that pole out because my ex-husband taught me how to use the pole. Yeah, I ain't talking about the dancing pole. Whoever's gonna sit up in there. We talking about the fishing pole. Oh yes. So we had down there what they call during the homecoming. We have homecoming every year in October, and it's called Firebomb, right? So my uncle, my cousin Joe, and his buddies, and my ex-husband, and all of them, my ex-husband had just had pulled up with the deer in the back truck. And my cousin, he'd already had it up, hanging up the string, the gallows, whatever they said, they were hang up the deer. We women we got the crock pot, we were going to do the crabs, because my mother loved crabs. So we had the crabs, we had the other pot, we're going to do the corn and the shrimps, and we had the other pot that we're going the fryer, because we were going to do the chicken. So we was like skinning already a couple of the chickens. So we was having food that day. So the pastor came. And he saw my ex-husband, the guys, skinning the deer. He said, "What y'all doing? How you doing?" And my ex-husband says, "You don't know what this is?" He said, "No." He said, "We skinning deer." He said, "You come and help us." Pastor didn't know nothing about skinning no deer, but he got up in church and talked about skinning deer. He didn't know nothing about how to wring a chicken neck. When my grand aunt tied the rooster leg together, and grabbed the neck, and they had the axe and told him, "You hold the axe and we'll hold the chicken down." He said, "Oh no, I don't do this. I'm scared." And you got up there and you fast talk about this stuff and don't even know what you were doing. And then you was eating stuff you didn't know what you was eating. But you got up in the church and you talk about it. See, that's why I can say, I know about skinning deer. I know about skinning and killing chickens. My grandparents had a farm. I lived on a farm. We had 3 pig pens. We had a chicken coop, right? We had a pen for the goats and the turkeys. And even if the turkey was not my grandmother, that was her brother, because he lived in Boston. And when he would come, he was always about to. So when we have family use every year, she would raise the stuff for them to have food. So I never had to worry about food. Since I'm from Nutville and Hard Knock, we ain't had to worry about that. We used to pack those sausages. We used to make those deer patties. They used to ask you what do you want? You want a mild or hot? And I usually get mine mild. Oh yeah, because I'm getting some deer patties coming to me. Oh, as soon as the pandemic get over, my cousin Joe and my ex-husband, they're sending me some deer. They already talked to my mama. My mama got them in her freezer down to the house. It's going to be shipped to me. That's why I made a video that day about me eating a oxtail. Because we do those things. So I'm saying to you, people, don't let people make you feel beneath you. I'm not going to sit here and waste my time, clap back to nobody. I'm not going to sit there and waste my time trying to, backlash. Anything that I do or have done or did do, whether show my little TD or whatever, I did it. I did it. I'm a grown woman. I did it. My thing is that if you feel in your heart that anything that I am doing or said that is wrong, then it's your place. If you say that you are a man or woman of God or a minister of God, it's your place to come to people that you think is poor or nutbill or anything that you think, to come and correct me. And yeah, you talk about my hands. See, let me tell you something. Being the fact that I work with my hands anyway, and even though I may sign or sign or whatever for the deaf, or I work with I'm used to my hands. So you can't change that about me. But if you feel that it's a problem, then what I'm requesting from you that is listening, if you feel in your heart now, you spiritually heart, if you feel that whatever I am saying that is not right, instead of going behind computer, pick up the phone, call me, right? And say, Denise, let's get together and let's talk. I will be more glad to talk to you. I'm not afraid. Instead of you talking about you're going to get my pastor or anybody like that, I told people before, when I go to church to hear a word, and most times it's confirmation that I've already heard anyway, or it's already been revealed to me. So, or to get out the house at the fellowship. But I don't go to sit and mingle and talk with pastor or anybody else. Not my business. So, if you feel in your heart that what I'm doing is wrong, if loving you is wrong, then I don't want to be right. If you feel my living is wrong, me living in a low-income home, I got land in Carolina. My parents and my grandparents had already done that a long time ago. I signed the papers a long time ago. But if you feel, that people or a woman like me is living wrong, then come and make it right. I mean, come on, people. I've lived in a shelter before. I volunteer in food bank. I work with the March of Dime, the March of Dime, the UNCIF, the Cancer Relay. And every year from May 1st, we do the Walk for Hunger right here in Massachusetts at Franklin Park. The reason we didn't do it this year because of the pandemic. I do it every year. I walk that 20-mile walk every year. The Walk for Hunger. Yes, I do. Every year. And my family can attest to that. Yes. I walk anywhere. Even when I'm not walking for a cause, I walk anyway. And long before I had my K9 dog, which is my also service dog, long before I had him, I used to go walking all the time. I got a bicycle and I walk and I ride. That's what we do here. We got cars, but a lot of us, we get together and we go walk and we ride. We go to Franklin Park and we chill out there. There's a golf course. There's a park there. There's a baseball. There's a tennis court. I play tennis. I have a tennis racket. I live a normal life just because I'm here in the bed, but I have a normal life and I talk like a normal person. I don't let people put me in a box, meaning like this. I don't let people define who I am. Regardless of what I did and who I did it, instead of you asking a question, my purpose for doing it and trying to figure out why I did it, it has nothing to do with my psychological, because I'm not crazy and I'm not stupid. I'm not retarded. Right? I study psychology. I have mine. But I don't go around parading, I got my degrees and I got my license on the wall. No, I just live a normal person. I'm getting ready to graduate. We're supposed to graduate May. Yeah, they came from May 29th. That's right. May 29th at UMass Berkeley. It's going to be a virtual because of the pandemic. And then next year, if we don't have it as bad, Then they'll do the main graduation, which we already be graduating. We already have our papers anyway, but we'll just have a walk-in one. By that time, I'll be already in my graduate school. That's right. I won't start in the fall. I'm going to start in the winter season, which winter to me will be spring. So I feel like this. The Hard Knock Life has brought me to 4. In all 4 colleges, I graduated. I passed. I had 3-point GPA. If I ever went any lower, the lowest I ever probably was a 2.8. But I did it. I made it. Right? I made it. The Hard Knock Life has taught me how to be the woman that I am today. It has taught me how to survive. Survive in my man, survive after the abuse of my man, survive through the rapes and the hurt and the incest that happened with me. It taught me, because then I can teach other women. And this is the reason why I talked about women and young girls are not leaving your children at home with men that's not the father of that child, because of these are different things. Because now, due to the pandemic, things are going to get worse. This is the reason, because I know what I was talking about. But you all say, oh, she's talking about man penis. She's talking about sucking a man penis. She's talking because I was making a statement. But instead of you taking what I said or asking, inquiring questions to me, whether you can email me at dealasal43@outlook.com, right? And ask me questions, or you can ask me what my Zoom account, and we can go one-on-one since we have to go virtually, or you can call me and we could talk about those things. But you took a word or a little something I said and you run with it and make a Facebook page or a YouTube and ran with it. That's what people do in ministry. They take a scripture, instead of reading and analyzing, they just run with it because they feel like that's the way they can gain people. That's the way they can keep people. And that's how they're going to make their money. And let me tell you something. You could talk about my face. You could talk about my teeth. All my teeth in my mouth is real glued into my gum. All right? It's just that my top, right? I was never in a fight or beat or anything. One of my teeth was loose. So after graduation from Roxbury Community College, right? I asked the dentist, don't want to go get surgery to remove, when you're going to remove this one. And that was after graduation. And he was going to put an implant. And I told him, if you put an implant there, it will still be a split, because I wanted to close my split. So somebody that's going right back to that picture that you got up of my old Facebook account, Mr. You know who you are. Everyone in my family, the Hicks family, has split. Oh, I'm sorry. So I can't help it because I have it. So they took my number 7. I told him to do that, so that if he's going to do any corrections, it's best for him to take 2, so that when he make the partial, it's going to close up. It will have 2. It'll close up the gap. So I had my partial for a whole month. The whole month after. And then after that, I had it, because I had a trial to test and make sure that it was fitting my gum. And then I turned around and had the original ones, my original partial, for a whole 2 years. Because I just been to the dentist and they were looking for a whole 2 years. See, I know about dental because I went to dental school, right? So I had my dentures for 2 years. So I told them that if they was going to give me, if they could close my gap, they took the other one. It was nothing wrong with the other teeth. But they had to do it so that they can make the partial. So what happened was I was cleaning my house. I was cleaning my desk. This is where I'm at now, sitting at my desk. And because I had a paper towel like this, right? And I had one that I was eating something, and then I had a paper towel like this. And I had my dentures in this. And because it was small, all I did was grab everything, because I'm the type of person, when I clean, I grab everything, I just throw everything in the trash. Did not realize that I had the dentures in my hand to throw in the trash. So I called my dentist. I told them what happened. They're making me new ones. Now, for them to make new ones, they're either going to make the copy from my dental model, or they had to give me the pink paste of my mouth. And those of you that are in dental school, some of those of you that have not been in dental school, or those of you that ever go to the dentist, let me explain to you before I leave so you understand what I'm saying. They do a mixture, right? It's called a dry mixture. It comes in pink, or might come in green, or whatever. Most time it's pink. And they can't let it get hard, because in dental school they told us that. And it comes in a bowl. And they get these cups, these tubs. It has one for your upper and one for your bottom, right? And so when they put that water in, and it's liquid, and it has to be liquid when it goes in your mouth, they can't let it get too hard and dry. They let it get a little hard for a little bit so that it can get the print of your teeth. You ever see them do this when they jiggle your mouth? That's because it's getting a little too hard, because if it gets too hard, it's going to take your teeth, right? So that's where your prints come from when they make the model, when the dentist or the people in the lab, when your model comes out and they put it together, and then they look at your model, so that's how they're going to make your dentures. Or if they're going to do corrective surgery on your mouth, they go by your pictures from your panorama, or the screen, the one that they look with the little pictures they do. They use that and your model. That's how they do it. Okay? They don't do them both at the same time. They do one, they get rid of that paste, they take it and clean them out, they tell you get some water, split that out, and they put the bottom in, and you close. Usually what they do in the beginning, they will take pictures of your teeth. And they start out with your bite wings. And your bite wings are your 4 sections of your mouth, which would be considered your wisdom teeth. Some of you have them, some of you don't. In your mouth, actually, is supposed to be at least 32 teeth in your mouth, naturally. In the beginning, you start with your primate, which are, the baby teeth. That's what I call primate. And then by the time you are 12, and once you don't lose them, you get your permanent teeth. Yes. And when the dentist comes in, the assistant comes in the beginning, they lay you in a chair. And they begin to talk. As he's taking a mirror and he's touching your teeth with the instrument, he's counting them, right? He's counting your teeth, meaning each teeth has a certain number. And he's saying to the dentist, occlusal, amalgam, occlusal means, okay. Amalgam means the seal that's in your mouth. He might say, okay, that means this needs to be worked on, this needs to be worked on. And they use a pencil, which on both sides, one is a red, one is a blue. If it's blue, it's all right. If it's a red, it means occlusal, right? That means the red is all right. The blue means like I said, if it's blue, you're all right. If it's red, it means occlusal. It means you have to have the amalgam. And the amalgam, that silver that goes in your mouth, for those that get cavities or don't have cavities or whatever, if it's to close up the hole in your mouth, the amalgam it looks like a pill, the size of a pill. Some of y'all get them gel pills. That's what it looks like. And what they do, they put it in a machine, and you see that machine shaking. You won't see it. And it makes that silver. And they take that scoop, and they get that scoop, and that's why they put it in your mouth, and it mashed down on your teeth. That's why you see a little ring that's on your teeth, and they crank it. They put that in there. That's called the amalgam. So since I'm so dumb and I'm from Nutville School, right? I would not tell you that. That's what they had to do with me, right? I've done root canal. I've done braces. I've done it all. And I was dental assistant. That holes that you see that sucks up your the blood or the water, your saliva. Mm-hmm. You wonder why they put the paper on that on those instruments that you see. When you walk in there, you don't see the instruments set up. You will never see the tools in there yet. When they come, they have it already set up for the doctor. But they have the blue paper. That's that blue that protects us. So in case for prevent from bacteria, they put it even on the machine. That's right. No one didn't tell me this. That's why I say don't be so quick to jump out here and go on these platforms and telling something if you don't know anything about it. So to complete dental school, you have to go to get your radiology certification. And that's what I did at the Goldman Dental School at University of Massachusetts, Massachusetts, right here in Boston. Boston University, which is connected to my hospital, Boston University, which is 5 minutes from my house. So again, people, if someone comes to you, talks down about you or your kids, say thank God. If they come to you and say you had a hard knock life, tell them thank you for it. Because I thank God for all my hard knock life. I thank God for it. Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be the woman I am, and I am lived to tell about it. The struggles, the heartache, the pain. Thank you. And you know, if my hair is not the way that you want it to be, you know what? I thank God. It didn't matter about being my family being Cherokee because they had to work. That just my root that I come from had nothing to do with who I am as a person. I choose that I don't want to put straight and comb to my hair because we don't. And if I do, it's because I want to. But you know, like I said, I thank God again, my hard knock life. And you should too. If you come from the projects or low income, because I ain't never came from no project. My family ain't raised me up in the project. I lived in a house all my life. I lived with my grandparents and left from there, came to the city, lived in Boston all my life. Went to every Boston public school. I'm able to see both worlds. And I came back when I left after my divorce in 2003. I came to Boston in 2008. That's right. And I've been here ever since. But you want to know about the hard knock life? Some of you going through this pandemic, this is the hard knock life. So I thank God for what Trump is putting us through because it makes us to be humble and to understand. It's not Trump, it's God. We are learned to humble. Some people don't want to humble because they want to run out to the beach. They want to run out all over the street. So I thank God how to survive. I thank God when God took me to school and medical school and did have what I had to do. Because then I know what to do when I didn't remember growing up having to run to the doctor every time. The only time I went because of surgery. That's what I had to go. But minor things, no. Mm-mm. So I'm leaving y'all. I gotta go walk my dogs and take them to go to the bathroom. And then I'm going to be watching the news because we have a lot of problems going on in this world. And give God thanks for that hard knock life. Give God thanks. If you was in an orphanage, if you was adopted by adopted parents, give God thanks for it. Because God bless you with parents that loved you enough to take care of you. God bless you with parents, or even if it's a single mother that adopted you, thank God for her. Thank God that you got a roof over your head because somebody don't have that. Thank God. And y'all have a blessed day.